My best regards to all your distinguished teachers connected here. Today I will cover the topic of prediction of coronavirus disease outcome and the future forecast the trend of COVID-19 in India, that is observational study. In this presentation I will cover the following points throughout the presentation. WHO China office published a report in which they documented that on 31st December 2019 at Wuhan city of China a pneumonia patient found, and further the whole world got to know that that disease caused due to the coronavirus. First confirmed case found in India at Kerala. A tweet is tweeted by the Chief Minister of Kerala on dated 30th January 2020. For this study, I considered the COVID-19 data of India, and the sources are www.covid19india.org, that is the most popular website in India. Another source was the Our World in data.org, that is the many research paper taken data from that resource. I have validated the data by the website of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. We can see the drastic growth in number of COVID-19 disease patients increased from the April month onwards. Here in this diagram you can see almost all age group peoples required, but from between 20 to 50 required ratio is high, and above 50 to 60 age group disease ratio is high. In other diagram we can see the recovery ratio of male is higher than the female patient. This is the weekly report of March and April month. It shows the outcome pattern of COVID-19 disease patients. This is the block diagram of my proposed work. In detail I will discuss about it in next section. In first step we perform two tasks. First, feature selection to fetch important and required data from whole data set. Secondly, imputation, that is the handling the missing data by Chand equation. Here in this example I can show you how the Chand equation works. If suppose that this is our data set and these three values are where NA is written, that is missing over here. So first I applied the mean operation over here. So in each column what I will do, I'll take the mean of each column values, and whatever mean value I will get I will put it over here. So as I have taken the mean of the age variables, then I got 25.33, and that was the predicted age. Similar manner, income was 12,614, and I converted the male and female variables into the numerical values. That was the 1 represent to male or 0 represent to the female candidate. Once I have taken the average, then I got to know that that missing value was 1. That means it represent to the male candidate. Second step, once again we'll perform the another equation to get the predicted value. So for that purpose what I did, and rest of the values I kept in the same way, but I changed the age value again into the missing value, and then I performed the Bayesian linear regression equation. Bayesian linear regression equation is nothing but the y equals to mx plus c, where m stands for the slope and c stands for the intercept. Y is nothing but the dependent variable and x represent to the independent variable. So here to predict the age will represent, rest of the age value will represent as a dependent variable, and income and gender will represent as a independent variable. On the basis of that I predicted the age value. For that purpose first we need to get the intercept or slope value, that you can calculate by using the tool available into the Excel, that is the data analytics tool. You will get these values. Once you will get these values, put into the formula y equals to b1 x1 plus b2 x2 plus b0, then you will get the predicted value of age, that was the 53.98. Step 2 is a training phase. Here 93% of data used for the training purpose due to the complexity of the system, 3.5% data for the testing, and the same amount of data to predict the outcome. Training performs in sample data, not in the whole population. Here we use the bootstrap resampling for the sampling purpose. It is resampling. Why? Because first we take the population of the data. Out of that we pick the n number of samples, and from this n number of samples we calculate, we get the resamples of m number of resamples. For example, here I am going to show you, suppose that we have a sample data of 60, 75, 65, 85 and 72. Total 5 number of elements are here. Mean value, standard deviation value and the standard error is shown here. So, for to get the resamples, what I do, each and every time I will pick a random value out of this sample value. First I pick a random value, that was the 60 over here, the second random value, that was 72, and the similar manner 60, 72, 65, 72 and 65 I got into the resample 1. Afterwards I'll calculate the mean of that, that was the 66.8. In the similar fashion you can calculate the you can get the value of resamples rs2, rs3, rs4 etc. m number of resamples you can create. Finally, I calculated the standard deviation, that was the 8.09. Then standard error you can calculate through the standard error divided by the square root of number of resamples. Through that you can calculate the standard error, that was the 4.05. That is almost similar to the standard error of the main sample, that was 4.3. So that's why these resamples can be accepted. Here first machine learning model is random forest. After sampling, same sample given as as a input to the random forest technique. Random forest technique create the multiple decision trees on each sample by random selection of subset of features. Finally, prediction is nothing but the average of all decision trees result. So let's see or try to understand how the decision tree can be created over here. Suppose that we have this data set and we want to predict the gender. So each and every time we should take the one parameter, and on the basis of that decision we can make. First I'll take the gender, and I want to predict the what is the gender or what be of next person if I'll have the age and income of that person. So as I picked the first parameter, that was the gender. So here I can see that 50% of persons are male and 50% of persons are female. 1 represent to the male candidate, 0 represent to the female candidate. So category, divided the category into two, male and female. 50% of data, it means 2 samples were from the male and 2 samples are from the female. 50% total 100% of data is divided into 2 different parts. Second parameter I have taken, that was the age. So first we need to get the mean value of this or middle value of this. So that was the 29. So half of the data will be divided into the greater than 29 and the rest of the data will be divided into the less than or equal to 29. So the person those who are having age less than or equals to 29, that will come into the yes part, and the person those who will not have this age, it means they'll have the greater age in compared to the 29, they'll go into the another decision. So if I'll go into the yes part, it means the person those who have age less than or equals to 29, we can see that 2 persons are here. One is having age 18 and second one is having 25. Once again I need to check the how many number of persons are female and male. So here we can see one person is one is female, one is a male candidate over here. So once again total amount of data is divided into two parts. 50% of candidates are male and 50% of candidates are female. So by this way, but the data total data we had 4, but only 2 data we are getting out of that. That's why 50% of data means the prediction ratio is 50% accurate if you are coming through this way. If suppose that the person having age more than 29, that will go through in this way. So here we can see once again 2 persons are having age more than 29, that was 53.98 and 33. So here we'll see the 50% of data once again means 2 candidates are here, one is a female, one is a male. So that's why once again the whole data divided into 2 different parts. Once again, and the last parameter, that was the income, but I'll take the middle value of that, that was the 12,457. So the person those who are having salary more than 12,457, that will go into the yes part, and those who are having less than of that, they will go into the another part. But as we can see, once I'll go through with the in this line, if will come and will check the how many number of persons are there, those who are having salary greater than or equals to 12,457. So we can see person those who are having more than 29 is that less than 29 is, that was the 18 and 25. Here we'll check the how many number of persons are there, those who are having less than 12,457, that was 2% of over here. Then we'll check the gender. So one person is female, one candidate is male, so that's why once again the whole data divided into the 50-50%. Another, it means the person, those who are having salary greater than of 12,457, that is not present over here. That's why there is no any decision tree over here for that purpose. Similar fashion we can create this one. So by this way you can create the decision tree, and the many number of decision tree would be created in this way, and finally the average of all the decisions will be known as the predicted value. Another machine learning model is a stochastic gradient boosting technique that is also having a same concept to predict. Difference is that in each sample checked by the loss function, and to reduce the error in sampling, each time new samples generated by reducing the mean square error in previous sample. Last model that we used is k-nearest neighbor for the prediction purpose. To show you how the k-nearest neighbor will work, here suppose that I want to predict the weight of a person if I know the height and age of the person, and the person ID is 6. So first we need to calculate the Euclidean distance by using this formula. So for this ID 6, I'll get the Euclidean distance for rest of the IDs. So by this way you can get the Euclidean distance for all of them. Now what I will do, I need to find out the k value, and the good choice of k decide the accuracy of our prediction. So here we have taken the k is equals to 2, so that's why two nearest the two candidate will select those who are having nearest distance with this ID 6, that was the third ID and fourth ID. So we'll take the average of weight of this, and then now this is the 59.5, that is the predicted weight of ID 6 person. Let's see the prediction. In next step we check the accuracy and reliability of our trained system. To show goodness of prediction result, here we use the accuracy and for the ACC for the accuracy to check the accuracy of the system, and kappa index to check the reliability of the system. Let's see the prediction result. Before talk about the result, we can see the accuracy and reliability percentage of the training model. Here you can see random forest model having the 92% accuracy and the 80% of reliability. Stochastic gradient boosting technique having the 92% of accuracy and 81% of reliability. K nearest neighbor technique having the 88% of accuracy and the 73% of reliability. These tables represent the performance characteristics of the training model. Gradient boosting technique is having higher accuracy and reliability in compared to the others, shown in the box plot diagram. This table shows the testing result along with the percentage of prediction accuracy of each model used here in the study. See what happened, these are the patient ID number, and these patients were known what are the actual status of these patients. For the testing purpose, I change these values into the unknown values, applied these values into our trained model, and received these results. When I compared these generated result with the actual status, then I got to know that random forest technique had 90% of accuracy to generate the predict the actual result, and similar fashion stochastic gradient boosting technique also having the 90% of accuracy, but the k nearest neighbor technique having the 80% of accuracy. Finally, here we can see the prediction of outcome of coronavirus deceased patient. These patients were hospitalized when I worked on that paper, and I predicted the result by applying these values, these IDs details into our trained model. And when I few days back I got the actual status or current status of these patients, and when I compared our result with this current status, then I find that for random forest technique having almost all the techniques we are having the 70% of accuracy to predict the actual status of these patient IDs. This is the probability of decision making shown in the table. Next and last part of this study was forecasting the future trend in increment in the number of patients deceased by the coronavirus. Here, for that purpose, I use the Holt-Winter method. It decomposed the data into three components. One was the level, that is the average value in the series, average value in between of this. The next one is a trend, the increasing or decreasing pattern into the series, and the seasonality representing the short-term cycle that is the presented. One important thing is that Holt-Winter method will work on data only when the trend and seasonality are presented to the data. Here we can calculate by this formula the level, trend and seasonality. First this LT represent to the level of particular time period, T represent to the trend of that particular time period, and S represent to the seasonality of that particular time period. Here we have three tuning parameter, alpha, beta and gamma. The accuracy of our result is depend on these three parameter. You can tune this parameter by using the genetic algorithm also. After getting the result of these three level, trend and seasonality, you can forecast the result by this formula. Here M is nothing but the number of period had to be the forecast, that is 1 for this case. And finally we'll check our accuracy of the forecasting by using these three error measurement, that was the mean, absolute deviation, mean square error, mean absolute percentage error. So here we have the forecasting result. First we need to initialize by first initial value of seasonality, level and trend will generate by this formula. Here for this study I have taken the parameters value, alpha value that was the 0.40, beta value was 0.42, gamma value was 1. And once I applied this Holt-Winter method into the actual data, these white points represent to the actual data in between 1st April to the 30th April, and these orange points represent to the forecasting. When I calculated the mean absolute percentage error, that was the 17.79. So if I'll show you the you can see here by looking itself, you can see that the whole data points predicted forecast data points are in the almost similar positions in compared to the original data points. So as we received this accuracy level or mean absolute percentage, that was the 17 point something. You can compare here. Actually Lewis in 1982 he has given the scale of judgment of forecast of accuracy. I was getting the value 17 point something, that was ranges in between 11 to 20%. It means we can say that the forecast I have done, that was the good forecast. By getting the this good forecast, I try to predict for the forecasting for the next 9 days. So these are the forecasting values, and now we have actually the actual cases, and these are the forecasting cases. So when I compared this is nothing but the error. Here you can see almost all the data points are nearer to each other, only apart from that here in 4th May drastic change in the happen into the number of patients, and even as well as in the 6th May that also the change may occur, and rest of the places almost the values are nearer to actual cases. Here the mean absolute percentage error, that was the 20.50. So once again we can see that whatever the forecasting I have done, that was the good forecast. So here it is the graph of that. Here you can see this is for the 4th May and this is for the 6th May, and the rest of the places these value are almost nearer. And here you can see also one most important thing is that the pattern of increasing or decreasing, whatever it is here, that is also present in our forecasting. So almost whatever the prediction I have done, that was the accurate. So finally, if I'll conclude my presentation, so here I can say that the accuracy can be increased by the availability of data itself, because as we were having a very less amount of data from last 2 months, and even the most of the drastic change happened in April month only. So that's why I can say that I was having only the 1 month data. Apart from that, by tuning the optimal values of the alpha, beta and gamma parameter, also you can increase the accuracy. Some other ways are there through which you can perform the analysis, like the how many number of testing has been performed, and out of that how many number of cases they have formed. So these are the references which I have taken to represent this presentation. So thank you everyone. If you have any query, you can ask.